All right. Good evening. Hello. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first live stream of my YouTube channel. Um, this is my first one to do, so if I make any mistake, please forgive me. So, right now, we have a couple of people watching, so welcome. Bachelor of Arts in Literature, welcome. This is Juan Carlos Salibo, my constant companion in my channel. Welcome, welcome. All right. Um, I've never done this before, so please bear with me as we go through this. So right now, if you need, if you can ask, if you want to ask any questions right now, let's go for it already. I think Bachelor of Arts. Hopefully, you can give me your name. But let's just call you Bachelor. If you said you have a list of questions, you can start asking. Go ahead. Also, on Carlo, to your last comment, what happened with YouTube is that they flagged that comment when you posted the link to that song and dance number regarding "Don't Be a Lawyer." Uh, well, I did watch the video. I've seen it before actually, but the thing is, um, that's more of a comedy situation rather than an actual, point of view for regard to be a lawyer. And as much as possible, it's a matter of choice whether somebody wants to be a lawyer or not. Okay, see, we have people coming on board. Very good. So if you just put in the chat your questions. So, well, to begin with, um, let me give you first the latest notices or issuances by both the Legal Education Board and the IATF regarding, at least for the semester for law school. Hello, 1485 Bot and Michaela. Good evening. All right. Getting more people on board. Good. Welcome. All right. So let's begin. Let's go back again. So right now, the IATF is going to, I think, the president will decide by Monday. Oop, I clicked that camera. We'll decide by Monday whether we will go to MGCQ, which is a modified general community quarantine. Hello, Greg. Tino, hello. Um, we, under the IATF, if it's MGCQ, the general rule as per the guidelines, the omnibus guidelines as of January 14, classes may be conducted face-to-face with at least 50% capacity, as long as the school has their own COVID-19 protocols. Oh, good evening, Kin, and good evening, Wigo24. Thank you for coming. Oh, Caroline, good afternoon. Kilman, welcome on board. Going back to the Legal Education Board. So again, IATF says that if it's MGCQ or Modified General Community Quarantine, the school may conduct limited face-to-face at 50% capacity. So whatever the size of the classroom would be, it's 50%, as long as there's community guidelines. At the same time, the LEB said that, of course, they will issue their own rules regarding the new MGCQ. So as of today, with the still remote classes, Zoom classes or web conferencing classes, but they have also said that it can be 60% synchronous and 40% asynchronous, meaning it's not necessarily 40% of the class may be done not in some web conferencing. Oh, I see we have a lot coming on board. All right, so let's see here. Oh, good evening, Paolo. Good evening, Grapes Lamy. Okay, the first question for tonight says here, all right, so you are senior high school students, high school. Well, if you're a high school student or you're about to graduate, you still have 4 years before law school, or 5 years, depending on your course. The best thing to do now, of course, I have a couple of videos on how to choose college majors, but nevertheless, just to be clear, you the law school requires to be admitted is any 4 year or at least a college degree. So sometimes a college degree could be 5 years or 4 years. If you go to certain schools that have trimestral system, you can graduate in 3 years, as long as you have that degree. Now, since you're high school and if you really want to become a lawyer, I would suggest that you read a lot of books, any books, fiction, nonfiction. Get the habit of reading books and remembering what these books. Make your own book reports if ever, because law school is 80% reading. And if you really want to learn confidence or maybe speak up, I would suggest maybe in high school, maybe join a drama club or a theater club or even the singing club. That way you'll be adept at public speaking, or at least being in front of an audience. All right. So bachelor, good evening. Let's see what's your question. All right. For the PhiLSAT, as of now, the PhiLSAT is not going to be for this school year, for next school year, 2021 to 2022. The LEB has not made an announcement yet. Last year, it wasn't given because of that Supreme Court case. So according to them, the Supreme Court did not ban the PhiLSAT, but nevertheless, they didn't have it last year. For this year, they haven't declared it yet. And so you don't need to study for the PhiLSAT. If they're going to announce the PhiLSAT now, I think it's too late for the incoming freshmen for law school. So I don't think, in my opinion, I don't think they'll have the PhiLSAT this school year. Second question, AB literature. Oh, I think, as I said before in my video, I think that's one of the best pre-law courses, because if literature, first of all, you're going to read a lot. Secondly, you're going to learn critical thinking and critical analysis, which is very, very important in law school. You'll have an edge among other students because you have a great command and so far as understanding the written word, because that's what you read. Law is about understanding and reading, books, cases, opinions, commentary books. All right. You're welcome, Grapes. Let's see here. Caroline, divorce. Ooh, divorce. It's a very touchy subject. Well, to be frank, I'm a Catholic, and by nature, I'm not supposed to agree with divorce. Now, divorce, as compared to annulment, is basically meaning, if you were gonna talk about maybe like in a sports analogy, when you have an annulment in this country, Philippines, it's as if the marriage didn't happen. So in a sense, the game never was played. So there's no win or loss. A divorce, on the other hand, means that there's a win and loss. But for me, a divorce, there's always a loss. There's really no winner in a divorce. So but as a matter of law, I leave it up to the legislature to pass a law on divorce. But that has always been said the last 30 years, so it's never happened. So I don't think it'll happen in this next Congress. So let's wait for the next president. All right. Okay. 1485 bought. A being language again. As I said, it's the same as literature, English literature. To be honest, in hindsight, if I were to go back in time and restart my college career, knowing that I'm going to law school, I would choose English or English literature. Because, as I said, that subject teaches the critical analysis skills required in law school. All right. Oh, Alexander Pili. Hello, good evening. English, science. No, I'm sorry. Any subjects taken in senior high school will not be credited towards law school. Meaning, in law school, the Legal Education Board requires that a college graduate must have 18 units of English, and it doesn't count what you've taken up in senior high school. I'm sorry, it's not counted for that. Good evening, Roberto. Oh, I think it's my student. Oh, Juan Carlo, first, is there a right or wrong answer to the question of why wants to be a lawyer? It's not about right or wrong. I think it's about how you really want to be a lawyer. So there is no wrong answer to be a lawyer. Um, you know the and there's no so if there's no wrong answer, then everything is right. Maybe that's the best thing to say, because being wanting to be a lawyer is already answering the question itself. I believe that. Uh, all right, Mr. Vera, what is my thoughts on being computerized? It is better. It's better insofar as the thought process in answering the bar exam. In this modern age, people use computers for anything, for almost anything. So it's not like there's going to be a great change if we maintain handwriting as the bar exam. I think the young people of today who are not used to handwriting and suddenly have to go to handwriting when they take the bar exam, they might have a harder time. So the only thing that limits computerized bar exam is really the battery life of the computer, because right now there's a proposal to have local testing sites in schools, and we don't know what the power plug situations are in those classrooms. You can have 25 students in a classroom. Can it maintain 25 computers plugged into 4 or 5 outlets? That's the big question. All right, 145 bot. What's the toughest case you accepted? I think the toughest case I've accepted is when I represented an American citizen, an American who left a child here in the Philippines with a Filipino mother. And that was the toughest case because everything was going against my client. He wasn't a Filipino. He was the father. In this country, under the family code, a child under 7 automatically stays with the mother unless there are other circumstances which lead that the mother be an unfit mother. So that was the toughest case that I accepted, and thank God that I actually won that case. So my client got to bring his son here, who was basically living in an urban settler position in the area, and now he's an American citizen living, of all places, Alaska. So he has a better life. All right. All right. You're welcome, Alexander. Oh, Mr. Robert. Oh, well, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, banana beans. I like that question. Good evening. Oh, thank you. Thank you. What advice can you give for a full-time deputy teacher who's planning to go to law school next year? What specific should I take or not take? All right. So deputy teacher, I don't, in my school, the University of Caloocan City, I interview a lot of deputy teachers who want to teach for our college. In that sense, if they have time to teach, I think a dedicated deputy teacher has time, if he really wants to, can make the time to go to law school. As you know, in my school in Caloocan, the classes are at 5 at 6 p.m. and then they end at 9. Sometimes you have class on weekends. So if you're off at 4, then definitely you can go to law school. And I think most law schools in Manila have programs for working students. So hopefully you can just inquire. All right. And what specific should I take or not take if you go to law school? Well, if you're a teacher now, so you have a degree, if you're going to have if I hopefully understand the question, if you're going to take a 5-year program or working class program, I would take the non-bar subjects first, or have take the harder subjects on the second semester. So if you can program that, then I would advise that. Hopefully that answers your question. We go. Okay, let's see here. You're graduating AB Psychology, and you take the school year. Though I know also just what field of law will I land? All right. If you are going to AB Psychology, and if you want a law practice that's related to your degree, I think that would be labor law, because labor law is about understanding how people act, feel inside a work environment. And psychologists, you know how to read, how not to read minds, but in how to understand the minds of people in such situations. So I think if you're going to emphasize or utilize your psychology degree and use that in a field of law practice, I think labor law is the way to go. All right, Juan Carlo, here we go. Is there programs for call center agents? At the University of Caloocan City, I have several call center agents who are students. So it is possible for a call center agent that's working the graveyard shift to be a law student. It's a matter of time management. So, for example, our class right now end at 9 p.m. So if your graveyard shift starts at 10, then it's possible. So now it's all work from, not work from home, but study from home. So it's easy for you to be at home and then go to law school, at least for those video classes. All right. So if you're going to choose a graveyard, I would choose a graveyard shift that starts at 10 up. And then, so at least because most law schools end at 9 p.m. So you have a chance to, that 1 hour. If you want to really start at 12, that'd be good because you have a few hours of rest time before your work after law school. All right. Hello, Mr. Villalon. Good evening. Legal management, Mr. Joshua. Now, what legal management does, it gives you a good foundation insofar as the law subjects. Because if you take up legal management, you take up obligation and contracts, you take up some labor law subjects, maybe even tax. So that is a good precursor to learning. But it's like you know the foundation. You learn a college level way of the subjects, and when you get to law school, it's just reviewing it, and then since you already have knowledge of the subject matter, it's just answering it in a law student type of way, or maybe handling it the law professor, which is going to be more stringent. All right. Hello. Oh, we have a lot of people on board. Thank you. All right, here we go. Oh, you're welcome. We go. Oh, Kathy de Vera. All right. No. As well, it was suspended for the school year 2020 to 2021. It's already February, and usually they will announce January of they announce in January when the PhiLSAT will be for the school year, which is around April. Since it's already February, and because of the pandemic, like I know the PRC has no exams for their board exams, so in that sense, since LEB that conducts the PhiLSAT is a government entity, and it's still MGCQ or GCQ, there are no classes allowed. So I don't know how that. So as of now, to be frank, there's no PhiLSAT for this coming school year. All right, Michaela. Okay. Plus the goes law school. What subject you choose for study now in order to prepare ourselves? So let's see. If you are in college now and you want to take up subjects, I would, if you can take as an elective, I would take maybe obligation and contracts, maybe the labor law subjects, because those will be subjects that will prepare for law school. And if you have a choice, maybe I would go with logic under the philosophy department. If it's an elective, take that. That'll teach you at least some critical analysis or critical thinking or analysis for that matter. Well, hopefully that will answer your question. Okay, De Gracia, political science. Oh, well, what's good with political science is that you study government. And when you take up Constitutional Law 1, the first year or the first semester, first year, it teaches you how a government is created, how it's run, how people are elected. At least with political science, you get to study how these governments were created and why these governments were created. So when you study Constitutional Law 1 in law school, you will know what the law professor is talking about. Insofar how a government, what the definition of a state is, what are the state's powers, what are the state's limitations. So political science will definitely help you in the first year. And ironically, the first year is where the highest mortality rate is. So if you can survive constitutional law 1, then you have a good chance of surviving the whole law school. So hopefully that answers your question. Oh, Mr. Chan, of course. We have a test this last Saturday of which is next week, so I hope you can apply there. Although we might have still an exam at the last weekend of every month until June. So we'll see how far the people are applying to and how much or how many will pass. So we can only take a limited number of students per year. We're limited number for freshman students. All right. You're welcome, Michaela. You're welcome, Kathy. All right, Miss Aliyah Navea. The best course. All right. All right. Accounting, I think it's an excellent course for pre-law. It helps you deal, of course, it's a logical based course. It also, even if you're not a CPA and you go to law school, if you still maintain your accounting knowledge, you can go into taxation law. You can work with the BIR or work for a tax law firm. And to be frank, most lawyers or most law students hate tax. So I know it'll be a subject that you're comfortable with, so that'll give you an advantage. Right? Banana Biz, what book? All right. If you really want to know how the law works and you're okay with reading thick books, I would go first. You get a book in statutory construction. Use any book that's the title statutory construction. And after that, you read a book, the constitutional law book, the 1987, the constitutional law book by Father Joaquin Bernas. It's rather thick, but reading that, you'll understand the Constitution, and that's already the basis of all laws, the Constitution. So I would recommend that book. You're welcome, Care. Oh, James Aguila, good evening. Political science, I think I've already answered that. You will have a great foundation insofar as how government works and how government operates, and that'll give you a great advantage in Constitutional Law 1. I have some students on board. I think they'll understand. If me, when I went to law school, I totally forgot about government. But if I'm fresh out of college with my PhiLSAT degree and I go to law school, it'll give me an advantage in the first year because the two subjects that are really about government is Constitutional Law 1 and Criminal Law 1, which is how the state, which has the police power to prosecute and go after criminals. So you have a good understanding of that. All right. Article 2 of the Civil Code. Oh my God. All right. Oh, what is that? Article 2? Is that? I think that's the. So I have my Civil Code right now. I'll have to look it up. Okay, let me just do that here. Okay. Article 2 of the Civil Code is about publication of laws. I think that's very important because for laws to be enforced, for laws to be enacted in any country, people should know about that law. You can't hide a law or pretend there's a law and just bring it out when it's needed. People need to know what to follow. People need to know what to do and what not to do. So if laws that are not published, I believe should not be laws that can be enforced. So publication is very important. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is the key. All right, here we go. Okay. Mr. Rolly Boy. All right, Bachelor of Arts, you're welcome. Okay, take immediately. Let's get the next day of publication. All right. Certain laws, the law is this: if the law says that it takes immediate effect, then the law or the code should allow that. But there's still publication. So Today, that is actually a misnomer because what's happening now, even if a law is in effect the last 2 years or 3 years ago, if there are no implementing rules and regulations, or they call the IRR, then the law can't be enforced. For example, and I think I can be correct on this, there is still no implementing rules and regulations as far as the drunk driving law is concerned. We don't. I think there's none. And if you think about it, the child seat restraint law, was passed, I think, 6 years ago, and only now they're issuing rules and regulations. So it may take that long. In fact, some laws, they said, oh, since we have the rules are not so good, we'll suspend it. So the child seat law was suspended, and right now the license plate law for motorcycles is also suspended because no rules. All right. So Rollyboy, I hope that answers. Okay, Leah, you are welcome. When does class start? Oh, the first semester starts in August. So you have enough time to prepare. Leah, Nevia. Oh, sorry, we go. All right. Michaela, digest cases. Oh, all right. Oh, that's good. How to digest case properly? I have a video. Just look at my channel. But if you want to answer now, it's this. Before you digesting case, it's just like reading a book, making a book report. But when you read a case, it'll be an easier time if you think what you're reading is a story. Then it's a novel, a horror story, a love story, or any taxation case is a horror story. So if you think of it as a story, there's actors here, there's a plot, there's a climax. If you think and you read the case and you think that way, it'll be easier for you to digest because you're remembering it as a story rather than just reading it as a factual book like the Guinness Book of World Records. Hope that helps. Well, hopefully that helps. So when you have what's this? If you read what you want is the key points in a digest, and it always, if you think about it, if you really want to look at the digest, try to answer the slam book questions: why, what, where, when. If a digest can answer those questions regarding the case, then I think that should be a good start. All right, Rollyboy, you're welcome. Sharon, good evening. Strategy to cope up with the schedule of the Bar Review Center. Okay. Well, if you pay for a bar review, you're limited and you have to accept their schedule. The best advice I would give is you have to take the subjects that you feel that you're not comfortable with. I know if you paid for the whole course, then you don't want to think of it as a waste. But if you really think that time management or you have other things to do, or the schedule doesn't fit, I would open up the schedules, how busy I would be as a law reviewer. As a bar student review, I would take the subjects where I feel it's the weakest, and so you can move your schedule around that rather than taking the whole course. I hope that answers your question. All right, Manavi statutory books. Yeah, that's the one. That's right. All right, you're welcome. Oh, Mr. Peel, how to be a judge. Well, the technical requirements is that you have to be a lawyer in practice for a certain number of years. The highest is the Supreme Court. In the Supreme Court, you need at least 15 years of law practice. And I think for Metropolitan Trial Court, if I'm not mistaken, it's either 8 or 10 years. So as far as, of course, you have to be a lawyer, and they look at the practice. That's just the technical requirements. Of course, other requirements as, that you have a history of honesty, sincerity, and you have no pending cases, ethical cases against you. So that's one requirement. Are there cases of, Mr. Juan Carlo, are there cases of law school debt common debt? Law school debt. Law school debt. Okay. We don't have that here because in the US, the government actually provides student loans as far as grad school or even law school. And when I went to study in the States, I do had classmates that were going to go in debt. And I've heard stories that their debt could be as high as $300,000. So 15 million pesos. So that's one thing. But if they get the right job, they can pay it off in 3 to 5 years. So we don't have programs for student debt here. All right. Ms. Nevea, is it really dangerous if you're a criminal lawyer? Well, hard to say, but I think what's more dangerous now are prosecutors, because they're the ones that are in charge of going after the criminals. And if you're a criminal defense lawyer, I feel that it's still a noble practice, and it's more. But I feel it's more dangerous now to be a prosecutor, because if you look at the latest, and I hope it doesn't happen to anyone. That's one thing I don't want. If you look at the latest lawyers that were met untimely demise, mostly are those prosecutors. So that's what I believe. All right. Miss Gateway, hello. Why did I focus on intellectual property, and do I think I need more IP lawyers in the country? Yes, we need more intellectual property lawyers in this country. Why did I go to IP practice? Because first, as you can see here, I have that's one of the things I play. So I'm a friend once told me that people say that you're a respected guitarist. I said, no, I'm just a guitarist. Anyway, I feel that the arts and the stakeholders, the authors, the artists, are underrepresented in this country. And when I went to the US to study my Master's of Law, I chose intellectual property because I felt there wasn't enough in this country. So when I came back, instead of representing big corporations, big white-haired great men, I went to where the root of intellectual property, which are the authors, the creators, the artists. So in my last 15 years of IP practice, I represent a few bands, some noted photographers. I represent a film studio, TBA Studios. I'm legal counsel to a couple of bands. Maybe you've heard of them, Razorback and Wolfgang. And I've done work with Itchy Worms. Hello, Chino, if you're there. All right. Thank you, Gateway. Juan Carlo, law practice saturated here in the US. No, there are not enough lawyers in this country. We need more. You just might think that there are a lot because in Metro Manila, it's all concentrated. But if you go out in the provinces, there's a serious lack of lawyers out there because everybody's here in Metro Manila. Mr. Alexander, you're welcome. Jaime, okay. All right. No, of course. That's my part of my advocacy now. Ever since I became a law school dean, education has been one of my advocacies to help students, not students and other people who need help. So I've shifted myself from being a ruthless, shark-infested, crocodile-eating lawyer to now one of an educator. All right. Okay, here we go. Oh, Michaela, you are welcome. Hopefully, yes. Please share it. Knowledge is power, and please look around my channel. Maybe there's some other videos that can help you while you're taking your PhiLSAT. And if you do want to become a lawyer, you have to mentally prepare yourself. Know that the first semester of law school, and my students will attest to that, is the hardest. And if you survive the first semester of the first year, I think you have like an 80% chance of making it through. That's my belief. Because once you pass the rigors of the first semester of a freshman year, it doesn't get harder, it'll get easier. All right. Okay. Felix, yes. Hello, good evening. Studying with reviewers. Working student, last time studied with reviewers. If it's reviewers in the sense that it is the reviewers of a textbook, then it'll be okay. I mean, it won't be, you won't know in-depth analysis by commentators. But do not shortcut on cases. I believe that you should read the case in its original form, in the SCRA, or maybe right now the Supreme Court has PDF files of their cases. Read that in the original form and then digest it. But for, like, say, for constitutional law, if you find a reviewer or a crim law, that'll be great. Won't be as good as reading the actual book because you get thoughts and analysis behind these cases, behind the law. Reviewers gives you a shortcut, bullet point, or a PowerPoint way of studying. But test yourself. If you study that way, see how you answer the exams in your law first semester, and if you're doing okay, then it's a system that you're comfortable with. So that should be okay. All right, here we go. All right, so hopefully that will answer your question, Felix. Marco, good evening. Is it common that there are students with engineering background in law school? What's your experience? Are you an engineer, Marco? I hope you are. If you go to law school, great. We need more engineering graduates. Engineering degrees are a great pre-law course if you take or go into the patent law practice. And we need more of that. We need people who are, I don't want to say scientific, but I like to call applied sciences degrees. Means their college degrees about creating something, about making something, and you can really practice. You will understand better patent law. And as of a few years ago, patent lawyers are one of the highly paid lawyers in the US and in Europe. So you can look into that. All right. What's to do? I would say catch up on reading. Read. Try to read at least one book a week to prepare for law school. Caroline, yes. Let's see here. Did you OJT in the years a law student? As a working student. The only OJT I did was for the required number of hours to work in a law firm or for a lawyer. That's part of Juris Doctor degree. You need to have certain hours working for a lawyer. That's the OJT. Now, working students, I think working students can survive. I know in my pioneer batch, I know some of them are listening, in UCC, Caloocan City, University of Caloocan City, I think 90% are working. And if they survived me while they're working, they can survive law school and they can survive the bar exam. Right? So if you are going to start law school as a working student, try to look for a program that will cater to the working students. Some law schools provide 5-year program. As for University of Caloocan City, our law classes are designed for working students because they start at 5 p.m. onwards until 9 o'clock and class on the weekends. All right, Kathy, studying more memorization only for the first year. Because once you survive the first year and go to second year, memorization is going to be instinct rather than forced. So when you read something, you tend to remember it, but not necessarily memorize word for word. So that's memorization is a key. It's more important in the first semester of the freshman year. All right, Alexander. Possible ba mag-tour ng solo school kahit kakapasa lang po ng bar? No. You can teach law subjects in college if you have a Juris Doctor degree or at least a bachelor's of law. It's not necessary. Although I think the CHED right now is requiring that any law subject be taught by a lawyer, but not all. I mean, you can be lax on that. So, but to teach law in law school, one must be a lawyer. The only exception is when the subject is legal medicine, and that must be taught by a medical professional. But in the law school in Rockwell, that is a religious law school, they had theology in the law, and that was taught by a priest who wasn't a lawyer, although technically he was a canon lawyer, a lawyer that works in the church, although not a licensed lawyer. Rolly boy, how much is tuition fee. Okay. The top law schools, it's about 100,000 per semester. Yes, that's how it is. But for University of Caloocan City, since it is through the graces of our Mayor Malapitan, he has made, and through his son, who was then a counselor, si Congressman Malapitan, he made law school, at least the university, he made it tuition free. But for the law school, it is technically subsidized. So if you are a Caloocan City resident, your tuition fee per semester will range from 10,000 to 12,000. If you're a non-Caloocan City resident, it can go as high as 16,000 per semester. So I hope that. And of course, other law schools, they have their own pricing schemes. All right, Felix, you're welcome. Merwin, is it true that you are a judge? What? Is it true that if you are a judge, you cannot hang out, make friends? It's not a law, but it's ethical practice that a judge, who's sitting judge, they have to be very careful who they meet. Of course, they can hang out with other people. They can go make new friends. I mean, they can go to parties. They can go to functions. It's just the rule right now is they cannot accept gifts. So that's the main rule. And of course, if, for example, I see a judge, it happened to me once. I had a case with this judge, and I saw him in a restaurant, and so I could not technically talk to him because that's called ex parte, wherein you have a pending case with the judge and we are one of the lawyers, you cannot talk to the judge without the lawyer on the other side. So for me to talk to him, I might be violating some rules, so I just wave. All right. All right, Gateway again. Okay, what's on the top of your mind advice for those who are taking the bar this year? All right. Now, if you're going to take the bar this year, it's February, the bar's in November. I would look into scheduling your time so that you will at least read. There are 8 bar subjects. You will read your coverage or whatever, prepared yourself how to read books, cases. So there's 8 subjects. You want to at least schedule yourself so that you can read all your subjects at least twice before October. So there, if you can plan something for that, create a schedule so you can read all the subjects, the 8 subjects, twice over. So that's what you should prepare for. That's how you should prepare. Reviewing, not per se. Reading up to catch up, yes. You start really going to serious review after graduation. All right. Sharon, good evening. Is it more faster if a bar reviewer read the previous bar exam Q&A with the Codal? No, I would advise. I would take these question answer books and make your own mock bar exam. Study. So what you do is after you study, let's say you're reviewing, after you study the coverage, those 8 subjects once, have a friend of yours or a colleague, then you take a past bar exam, have this person write it in like a bar exam, and you answer it. You make your own mock bar exam and see how the results are. But still study the second round. That's how I would advise. So I would take the Q&A, separate, only as a mock bar exam. Juan Carlo, you are very welcome. I hope you pursue your dream. Joel Suniga, what are the requirements the GWA papasok sa law school? To go into law school, I don't really have a set GWA. Of course, I would want something that's at least 85 up. But if I see that the law student or the potential law student passes the entrance exam, and I look at the transcript and I see how did this person survive college? Did he take 5 years, 6 years? Did he take up PE 6 times? I look at that rather than the grade itself. If the person has 75 average, yet I see him, he has no failures, and he has taken these other subjects, and then during the interview he's really passionate about being a lawyer, I would accept it. All right. Good evening, pronounce that right? ZZQT. Good evening. Can you please explain Article 2? Okay. Article 2 is the publication. Simply put, a law can only be a law or enforced if the people know about that law. And the only way for people to know about that law if it's technically published. Meaning we don't tell you what law it is. So right now the minimum is that it is published in a newspaper for 2 weeks before it's enacted. So the reason why Article 2 is there, because if you don't know what to follow, how will you know that you broke the law or broke the rule? So that's very important. All right, Juan Carlo, okay, yes, would be okay if you lost us make a personal viewer and digest. Of course, you always want to make something that you know that you wrote, and if you do that, you can feel proud of that. And secondly, making the reviewer itself is technically a review. You're studying as you make it. So I think that's the advantage of making your own reviewer. All right. Leah Navia, is it live? Po a little later. Well, I'll try to stay here as long as I can. Maybe until depending on the number of people, I would go until 8:30 offline. Well, you know what? I can schedule another one next week, and we can do that. But I can stay here until 8:30. All right, we can do that. 8-bar subject. What is your favorite? My favorite. When I was taking the bar exam, my actual favorite was remedial law, because remedial law is just about rules. And when I study remedial law and I look at the rules of civil procedure, criminal procedure, to me that's the action. That is the script of a movie. And so, I'm sure you've seen TV series or movies with the courtroom litigation, and then when I look at civil procedure, the rules, it says how this. For me, that's the script of a courtroom battle. So that's what was my favorite. Right. BS major in English. Friend, yes. Hazel, good evening. Hazel Baguio, I like that name. Yes, I think that is a good pre-law subject, because English, the command of English is an advantage in the law school, because it teaches you, in my opinion, critical analysis and critical thinking, which is very important in law school. Oh, Aquamarine, taking legal management in college because my family wants to be a corporate lawyer. Special advice from me. Legal management is great because it gives you there's a precursor. You get to know some of the subjects before actual law school. So obligation and contracts, some labor law, some more business subjects like negotiable instruments. So that gives you an advantage because there's more or less corporate or business type laws. And legal management is great if you want to go into corporate law. That's a great pre-law course. Advice for you: you're going to go to college. Read like it's your favorite thing to do. In your free time, read a book. Go to the book sale. Well, no, the malls are not open. If you find a book somewhere, just read it. Getting used to reading will definitely help you in law school. Benevis of Bombicol, you're very welcome. Jeneline, good evening. Banana Vids, of course, Bombicol, yes. How is it important to memorize code provisions? Because in recitation they'll ask you. I had this in my criminal law 1, my first year. Justice Relova, my teacher, may rest in peace. He would make sure we all memorize the assignments for that day. It's articles 1 to 10. We have to answer him word for word. So memorization at the very least is vital in the first semester of your freshman year. When you become second year, third year, fourth year, you will memorize, but because of instinct rather than being forced to do it. All right, Jeneline, I was grade 10 student now. I want to be an international lawyer. Great, great. If you really want to practice international law, look for college courses that are diplomacy. I think La Salle has it, or other schools, or foreign relations. I think Lyceum has one, and so take that as a course so that if you really want to be an international lawyer, or if not, learn logic or philosophy, because you can be an international lawyer in arbitration, and meaning you will settle issues between uh, uh, people of different countries. Like if there's a contract in Hong Kong and in the Philippines, the people who are fighting, one in Hong Kong, one in the Philippines, they will go to an arbiter to decide the case. So that's one way to practice international law. Right? Leodel, hello. Who was your role model? I'm showing my age here, and my role model actually was, when I was high school, was watching this old TV series called L.A. Law. There's another series called Matlock, and it's about lawyers. And that, though, maybe those are my role models. As far as actual role model, well, my father, who was a lawyer, he was my role model because although he never asked me to be a lawyer, and so that means he let me be what I wanted to be, and it was my dream to be a lawyer at that time, but circumstances were changing, and actually went to law school when I was married. But my wife encouraged me, go to law school. I will support you. So that really helped a lot, and I'm grateful to her for that. All right, how to be an international lawyer. The shortcut would be is you work for an international or a multinational company as a lawyer. You may be assigned in other countries, but if you really want to be an international lawyer, another way is to when you become a lawyer, get a job at the DFA, Foreign Affairs. And that's one way because you can be assigned abroad. Other than that, try to look for ways to be an arbitrator. That's basically international law. All right, Care Anglo de Gracia. Do you have any recommendations for future law students? I would recommend any statutory construction book and or easy to read the constitutional law book of Father Joaquin Bernas. I would recommend that if you're about to enter college or want to be a lawyer. That's a good book to start. Marco, yes. Curious questions. Are law students sometimes required to memorize the GR number? Where are we here? Oh, it's a lot of questions. Oh, for 50 people. Oh my God. Oh, we're here. All right. Marco, all right. Good question. Are we required to memorize the GR number? It all depends on the professor. And I know my law students will attest to this. How I test if they read the case is to ask what was the lawyer's name or what was the color of the shirt of the judge. If it's there in the case, I would look for minute details to ask that. And if they didn't answer, that means I don't think you read the case. So as far as memorizing GR numbers, I don't think that's right because they're actually, that's just a file number. And if you have a driver's license, have you memorized your driver's license number? You probably memorized your SSS number, or I haven't memorized my BIR TIN. So I don't think it's fair for law professors to ask GR numbers because it's too many to memorize. You can read. Remember my first year, not my first, as a dean, the constitutional law professor assigned 600 cases for the semester. You don't have to memorize those GR numbers for that. So hopefully it doesn't work out that way. All right, you're welcome, Aqua. Bunch of books are read. Okay, generally good. Oh, Kimberly, thank you very much for those kind words. I really appreciate it. Oh, Juris from Southern Leyte. Good evening. I don't know how to speak Waray. Is that Waray Leyte? Anyway, good evening. Thank you for being on the live stream. JP. All right, JP. Is it true As long as you pass the written final exam, you pass subjects. You do not. That's very subjective. In the way I teach, my grading system is always, and my students know this, is it's my breakdown of my grades is 30, 30, 40. 30 midterm exam, 30 final, and 40% recitation. So you can actually fail. For example, you get 40, you do good recitation, you only get 20 in the final and 20% in the midterm. That's 80. So it all depends on the teacher. So it all depends. It's not a standard rule on that finding of only passing the final. Some professors do that though. Gabrielle, good evening. What would you like to ask? What would like to ask for if you were kept during law school and it felt difficult? Well, for me, I've always said this in my videos that I was married with at that time a 3-year-old son, and that kept me going. When things got tough, they were my. I depended on them and for inspiration, and I'd come home after law school. It was 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and they would my wife and son would welcome me as if I just went out to have dinner. So that kept me going. All right, DJ, good evening. Taking medicine. I have love for medicine. It's possible, of course, definitely. Once you pass the medical board exam, you want to become doctor. I'm sorry, you want to become a lawyer. Fine. I know some people who do that. I've had some. I know somebody, not just a lawyer, doctor, even has an MBA. So there's no bar. There's nothing to stop you to go to law after taking the medical board. So go for it. What to expect in law school applications? Okay, Aqua. If you were applying to my school, I would first expect honesty, accuracy in the data. That's one thing you should know. So make sure you don't skip on any timeline, if ever. So that's one thing I look for. Other than that, it's just everything's just factual. All right. Ferdy Castro. Oh, hello. You're Janeline, you're welcome. Alexander, what practice should you go after passing the bar? Oh, well, it's a good question, but it all depends on what you want to do. If you want to go practice intellectual property, you work for an IP law firm. If you want to practice litigation, you go to a law firm that's heavy litigation or labor law. It's really what you want to do and what is your passion. If you want to go into government service, you can work for be a prosecutor. You can be a public attorney, public defender. It all depends on what you want. You can practice corporate law. So whatever you go to law school, see what practice you want to be in, then look for law firms or lawyers. You can ask them to work for them that are in that practice. So that's my first job. My first job as a lawyer, I work for one of the best taxation lawyers out there, Attorney Bunya. Good evening if you're here. But I never went into tax law. But nevertheless, he guided me to become, work as a lawyer, work as a law firm, grunt work, go to hearings, write pleadings. He guided me through that. So but I never went into tax law. All right. The others suggest a book for Tax One. Ooh, Tax One. Oh, Tax One. The horrors. Oh, dream. Oh my God, I'm having a nightmare. Oh, Tax One. Oh no. Oh. I would always use the book recommended by the professor because he will base his lectures, his recitation on that book. So always go for what's recommended. But if you have a choice to get something, oh boy. Actually, I don't know anything tax book. If you could make a comment here, and I will get back to you on that. I'll look for that tax book. Kim, oh my God, so many. Hold on. May I suggest that you do videos preparing for the bar exam? Graduate of Law, Western Style. Okay, all right. Actually, I already started with the bar bulletin number 18. Um, and I will give how to, not what to study, but how to prepare yourself. Because really, it's your time management, your preparation for the bar exam. So I will teach you at least how to do it. For now, I'll give you one tip. You have to prepare everybody around you that you're going to study for the bar. Meaning, so you graduate, or if you're practicing now or you're studying now, maybe you have to tell them in the last 3 months leading to November, don't ever give me any problems. You want to concentrate, and so you want to prepare for that. So that's the one I can say right now. But thank you for the recommendation. I will make some bar exam videos. All right. Okay, Mike. Uh, Mike, is education majoring in math and science a good pillow? Yes. Yes, because technically there is no bad pre-law course. There are better pre-law courses, but there's no bad ones. If that's your course, and if it's the course that you want, it's the course that you will feel comfortable, then take it. Because if you have my thought is, if you have a great time in college, you have an easier time in college, and you enjoy what you studied, that'll prepare you for law school. So um, that would be better for what if you enjoyed your college, then you can graduate with honors if you did well. All right. All right. All right. All right. Okay, here we go. Sharon, how to answer the bar questions briefly in order to manage your time during bar exam? Okay, for now, I would review the questions, be 10 questions or 15 questions. I would answer the toughest one first. Not the easy ones, the toughest ones first. And then the easy ones later. I always do that. For me, that's the best practice I can give right now. All right. How should I have it to recite in class? I would practice while in college, or do we start reciting? Or I would, the shortcut way of it is I would just recite myself in the mirror, maybe. That would be a good one. Yeah, you're welcome. Uh, it won't be XZ. I don't should be a conflict. I did have one time. In my law school, my professor was my uncle, so it was okay. Um, hello, uh, hello, Aru. Well, if you were my ex-student, apply again because you know now what to do. I think you should go ahead. All right. All right. Books recommend Father Joaquin Bernas. All right. All right, Aquamarine. I've heard that law school breaks students, build them back again. Ah, ooh. Okay. How do I say this? Uh, some professors, you have to face it. Maybe if law students are here, I mean, this is the face reality. 20%, 15-20% pass the bar exam. So that means roughly 15-20% pass the 4 years of law school. So 80% don't make it. And so that's maybe why people think that law school breaks law students, because only the toughest survive, I guess. All right, here we go. What was the most nerve-wracking experience when in law school? Resit po ba? Wow. Law school. Uh, what was my nerve-wracking experience? I think My nerve-wracking experience was reciting my first criminal law one, because you had to memorize the assignment for that day. So we met twice a week, and I would memorize while on the bus on the way to law school, or I won't say I was driving, but I would memorize everything. And so that was the most nerve-wracking, because if I miss one word, if I miss the syntax or the comma, I failed the recitation. Stage fright. I never had stage fright. I guess I'm a ham, but uh, stage fright in a sense, because you can stand for 30 to an hour while in law school reciting, and if you have stage fright, you're sweating. The nervousness might make you give out the wrong answers. Juris, good evening. How to study time despite busy schedule and daytime, 6 subjects a semester. Oh, block time. Stick to a schedule. Put your schedule on your phone. Stick to it. If it's 6 to 8 p.m. studying Consti Law, that's what sticking to a schedule, sticking to a routine will help you. JP, become lawyers at the age of 55. Government solo practice in house. Oh, okay. So if you're taking law school at great age of 55, 58, so you'll be a lawyer in 4 years. Government, I don't think will have. Private law firms, maybe not. So maybe you could become an in-house solo practice, or after 2 years, become a teacher. That's a great thing to do. But I wouldn't advise going to government, because you're going to start from scratch, start from zero, and it's unless you're already working the government and you become a lawyer. Sometimes they promote people, so maybe that'll help you there. Aqua, essay questions. Yes, now there are essay questions. Carmela, good evening. 13 years. What advice you give me? Carmela, I would advise you take the refresher course, because I don't know the rules, but either you might have to take a 1 year refresher course. I think should, even if it's not allowed, I think I would advise that, because there are many things, many laws, many cases that have happened since 2008. That's what I think should advise. Scenario, how to survive. Well, thanks for the suggestion. I will look into that. Thank you. All right, you're welcome, Aliyah. Riz Mamon, greetings. Sambuanga, second year JD. We're not able to meet during the pandemic. Can I ask for some advice on this? Whatever book is for that, read. I know you can download syllabi for those subjects and read along that lines. If you don't meet the professors, if he's given a syllabus, just keep reading. Follow the schedule and read as if you don't meet. So that should help, hopefully. Right? What's the difference between international law to other law practice? The international lawyer faces two types of laws. And as an international law, you have to be aware of treaties, conventions, and these things. These things are the ones that will guide the international lawyer. Okay, we go. Juris, you are very welcome. Hopefully, I know some Cebuano, so why kaso? We go. Is it necessary to use legal English in law school? Yes. English is the medium of teaching, writing, learning, and the bar exam. All right. Good evening. Is it good to enter law school during the time of pandemic? Face-to-face, but an online class. Okay. Yes, I believe face-to-face is much better than online class, but it's by law, by rule, that we can only have classes online. And hopefully it's temporary. If for MGCQ in March and maybe August with the vaccines rolling out, I firmly believe that it might be face-to-face come next school year, August or June. So I think We'll be back to face to face. Right? You're welcome. All right. Okay. I see now it's 8:10. I've set my time limit 8:30, so I have to wrap up um, my my video here. I thank you all those who are attending, or I'm sorry, who are watching this video. I know this video will, once it's completed, it will be part of my channel, so you can always revisit this video. Just look for it in my channel, and you can rewatch it. This is I'm very encouraged by all of you here. I will definitely make this a regular thing. Aside from answering questions, I will also give some lectures on at least how I'll give one topic that I will talk about the next live stream, and so that the questions can be major toward that topic. Um, uh, the bar exam maybe in a couple of more weeks, but maybe next week we'll have a video on, we can delve into how to recite in class, how to read the digest, how to read the case. We can go into that specific topics, and we can be more centered in that. Of course, if there's other questions in the live stream that you post, I will definitely try to answer them all. All right. You're very welcome. Next week, we'll try. I have to prepare for that. All right. Thank you, everyone here. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. It helps me a lot. And then, as by subscribing and liking my videos, it helps the YouTube algorithm and makes more people aware of my videos. And my advocacy now is to help young people here who want to be lawyers, and I want to encourage them. So I hope you do that. It'll help me a lot. Thank you so much if you've done already. Um, uh, you're very welcome. All right. I see that uh, we're all done here. I thank you again. I greatly appreciate that you have taken the time to this live stream. I'm very encouraged to do this regularly. I think I will do this regularly. I'll try to set up look better. My son and my wife helped me a lot, and hopefully they can help me. Maybe I need a haircut. I know. So, and I'll try to make the setup a lot easier, and we'll maybe have more structure in the next live stream. So I'll prepare that. Okay. Very welcome, JP. So thank you all for watching. I wish you a good Sunday. It's a holiday this Thursday, so that's a day off for everybody who's working. So again, thank you very much. Good evening, good night, Godspeed, and I wish you good fortune in the next coming days. Thank you very much. I see you all next week. I made a promise already. I can't back out. All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you.